Hi guys, this time we're going to be checking frequency and the time. If you remember, every time we ask about frequency, we use the expression how often, con qué frecuencia. How often do you drink coffee? How often does he play computer games? So remember that we make the question with how often, do or does, the subject, the verb, and the complement. And to be able to answer the questions, we have to use the frequency adverbs, like often, usually, sometimes, always, almost never, etc., etc. What do? We have to put this word, the frequency, between the subject and the verb. So look at number 1. The correct answer is going to be, we often go to my parents' home on Sunday. What about number 2? Yes, I usually work on Mondays. Number 3? Very good. The receptionist always works here in the morning shift. What do you think about number 4? My parents almost always visit us. Number 5? They never have guests at home. What about number 6? Exactly. Sometimes has 2 positions. We sometimes have eggs for breakfast, or sometimes we have eggs for breakfast. And number 7? Very good. Birds always build their nests on the roof. So don't forget, the frequency goes between the subject and the verb. What about that if you organize the words to create a good sentence? Yes, in that case, it's going to be, I usually get up around 10 on Saturday. What about number 2? Very good. I usually leave the house at 7:45. Number 3. I almost always go out with my friends on Saturday evening. Very good. Next one. Perfect. I never work at the weekend. So if you pay attention, what we are doing right there is to describe the routine with time. So let's see how to do it. Take a look over there. We have Richard Branson, who is the founder of the Virgin Group. His morning starts with kite surfing, swimming, or playing tennis at 5 a.m. Then we have Jack Dorsey, who's the co-founder of Twitter and Square. He wakes up early to meditate, followed by a 6-mile jog at 5:30 a.m. Then we have Warren Buffett, who is an investor and philanthropist, and he reads at least 6 newspapers after waking up at 6:45 a.m. And finally, we have Bill Gates, who trains body and brain by running on treadmill while watching educational videos at 7 a.m. So, when we want to ask about the time in which you do an activity, you're going to say, what time do you, and the verb. What time do you study English? What time do you go to the gym? What time do you have classes? And the answer is going to be at with the time. In English, we have 2 forms of expressing the time. Let's look at the first one. It is what we call the direct time. So what do? You say the hour and then the minutes. For this, you need to know the numbers. So look at the example. What time do you study English? The answer, at 2:15. 2 is the hour, 15 is the minutes. The next one. What time do you have class? At 4 o'clock. What time do you have dinner? At 6:55. What time do you call your friends? At 5:20. What time do you finish lunch? At 1:40. What time do you begin class? At 9:05. So this form is very easy because you say the time and the minutes. It's direct. But we also have another way to express the time. And if you pay attention to this clock, it's going to be very simple. Take a look over here. En punto is going to be o'clock. When we go from the minute 1 to the minute 30, we say past. The minutes past the hour. Los minutos que han pasado la hora. For example, for 10, it's gonna be 10 past 4. 10 minutos han pasado las 4. 10 past 4. If we go in this side of the clock, we use 2. And right here are the minutes to the next hour. Los minutos que faltan para llegar a la próxima hora. For example, 4:55 is 5:25. 5 minutos para llegar a la hora 5. 5:25. Look at the following examples. What time do you have classes? At 2:15. Minutes past the hour. The next one. What time do you clean your house? At 4 o'clock. What time do you have dinner? At 5 to 7. 5 minutes to the next hour. What time do you study English? At 20 past 5. What time do you start class? At 22:02. What time do you go to bed? At 5 past 9. So if you pay attention, in this other form, we use past and we use to. And right there you have to remember if it's going to be the minutes past the hour or the minutes to the next hour. That is going to be the little exercise that we have over here. The plan is that you can describe the routine of the person by using time and frequency. For example, look at this one. You always, that's the frequency, get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays. Right there you have frequency and time. I always get up at 6 a.m. on weekdays. Take a look at this one. I usually take a shower at 6:30 on Mondays. What about this one? I sometimes have breakfast at 5 to 7. What about in here? I always go to work at 8:30 or at 8:30. What about in here? I never have lunch at 12. What about in here? I almost always go back home at 25 to 5. The next one. I almost never have dinner at 5 to 6. The next one. I sometimes read a book at 6:10. The next one. I usually go to bed at 9 o'clock. And the last one, I always sleep at 4 in the morning. So right there you have the different examples, and remember that when you express frequency, you use the subject, the frequency, and the verb, and when you express the time, you say at, and then the time. Just to finish, I want you guys to remember that next Tuesday we are having a written quiz, and you have to study the units 4 and 5 from the textbook. Right there, you need to study the simple present into affirmative, negative, yes, no questions, and WH questions, the vocabulary for routine and free time activities, the days of the week, the frequency, and the time. Study hard, okay? See you.